Hello and welcome back to What the Math. Today we're going to try to recreate this invasion of the Falkland Islands by the British task force that was sent here to basically reclaim the islands from the Argentinian forces. Now, on the other side, we have the Argentinian forces. They actually have numerical superiority. They have more infantry. They have very strong anti-air support. They also have artillery. And this is actually based on the real equipment that they actually had, and they did have more soldiers on land on the islands. And we actually have a very interesting setup here. So on the British side, we have, first of all, we actually have our paratroopers, we have Royal Marines, and we have our SAS, so the Special Forces and Commandos are all basically going to be attacking using, actually I think we're going to be using helicopters and also these Stormer delivery vehicles that are also amphibious and they can cross water. We also have Scorpion tanks and Scimitar tanks. These are the only armored vehicles that Britain did have in this particular battle, and these were actually the main support vehicles as well. We also have Gazelle helicopters for our scouting needs, and we actually are going to put one right now on the map. And we also have some Rover Milan vehicles, which are basically our anti-tank vehicles, just in case the other army actually has any tanks. We're going to use these to dispatch of those tanks. And we do have a lot of air support, a lot more air support than they do, because in this particular battle, United Kingdom actually had 2 aircraft carriers with a lot of sea harriers on them. So we have all kinds of sea harriers here. We have sea harriers with bombs, with anti-tank weapons, with I think this is napalm or something really, some kind of a bomb that basically does a lot of damage. And we also have sea harriers for air superiority, because these guys also have airplanes. They do have airplanes, and I mentioned this in a previous video. And so here, this is 45 days after the initial invasion. I believe this is mid-May of 1982. And our first goal is to establish a beachhead. We're going to actually send our first target is going to be to take this, so that we can actually invite our ships, because we do have a naval force here that is a lot more superior than the naval force of the enemy, and we're going to try to use them for basically support. We're going to use them for both artillery strikes and for all kinds of other interesting things. Now, in real life, several of those ships were actually sunk by the Exocet missiles that the enemy possessed. I don't know if it will happen to us in here, but it might. You never know. So let's put our first logistic unit here. We're also going to put a few initial Royal Marines. We're going to put 4 of them to basically try to establish the beachhead. And what these guys are going to do is that they're going to take this first area right here, and they're going to try to hold it. This is going to be our beachhead. We're not going to go for Charlie 3 yet, because I think what the enemy will do is try to, basically they'll try to take as many of these as they can. They'll probably take India, they'll probably take Hotel and Juliet, and we're going to just try to keep the beachhead and invite our ships in for the military support. And we're also going to use some of our paratroopers to take over this Echo town here. We're going to put a few paratroopers and land them in these little houses here. They're going to stay there just for in case the enemy decides to take this area, because this is going to be our possibly secondary landing operation. And after this, we're possibly even going to send them here. I actually would like to take Kilo and prevent enemy from taking it. And we'll do this by sending our special forces and our paratroopers. We'll put them here. And special forces are actually have anti-air Stinger missiles, which will actually secure this area for us to basically prevent enemy from causing any kind of trouble to us. So let's start the battle. We're not going to deploy everyone yet. We're just going to put a few units here, and let's begin this. Send our units to take Bravo so we can bring in ships. We're going to put these guys, these are the anti-tank units right here, and send in our Marines. Marines will go to take Charlie, and another team of Marines is going to hold it from the other side. And these Marines will actually most likely just stay here to back them up. And so the paratroopers will go here. and also here. So we're actually using these Lynx helicopters. In reality, United Kingdom didn't actually use that many helicopters in this particular mission, although they did have them. But they ended up actually losing a lot, especially cargo helicopters, when the enemy... Oh, I forgot to bring my reconnaissance vehicle. Argentinian missile struck one of the ships and actually destroyed all of the helicopters they had. A lot of the Chinook helicopters that are used for cargo transport were actually destroyed during that particular missile strike. And the Royal Marines were actually basically just walking for like something like 50 miles. I think it was like 70 kilometers. They literally walked to the location because the helicopters were basically down. And what's really ironic is that a lot of the missiles that Argentina used in this particular operation, specifically to sink the British ships, were actually sold by the British earlier, a few years ago, a few years prior to this particular invasion. So I think Britain must have been pretty angry seeing a lot of their own basic, their own ships, their own airplanes, everything was basically being destroyed by either French or the British missiles and bombs. Anyway, so let's bring our main frigate. We're going to bring Hazard Perry here, and this is going to be our main support for now. We're going to bring more later on. So first, let's unload our special forces, and I think these guys reached this location. We're going to unload them here as well. They're going to hide inside those houses and protect those areas from the invading enemy, which will probably... Oh, here they come. Here's the first enemy. We're going to just watch them for now. They're probably going to try to attack us in real battle. Oh, they actually have AA here. This is the anti-air defense, so we have to be really careful. Let's bring in our first Scorpions and also Scimitars. This is going to be our first Scimitar and Scorpion strike, and they'll try to take care of this. We want to destroy these guys as soon as possible. Unload these guys and these guys as well. They're gonna hide there, and look at that. Our Milan anti-tank vehicles are actually doing a little bit of damage here. These helicopters can stay there for now. They're not actually... I don't think they have any defense, so... And look at that! Look at how good we're doing against them already. Basically, we were able to destroy some of their mechanized infantry units. And these are all mechanized infantry units. That's what Argentina used here. Spoke too soon. Here come my vehicles. They're being destroyed already. Now, we're not going to use air attacks yet because these guys have... Unfortunately, they have quite a lot of anti-air power. So we're going to be using our tanks for now. And let's bring our ship, actually. We're going to bring our ship to support these guys. So this city, I think, is secure. We'll be able to hold it for now. And we might as well bring more Milan vehicles here. Now, this is what we want to destroy their anti-air. Okay, so their anti-air is down, so we can send in our airplanes. And oh no, I just saw another anti-air. Well, anyway, let's just watch. Let's see what happens. Here come our Sea Harriers from one of the aircraft carriers that were in this area. There were actually two, and both of them were quite effective at essentially destroying most of the forces that Argentinians had on the island. And look at that. Look at the destruction. And hopefully they'll all survive. I don't want to see them die. And, okay, so this is actually their doing. I believe they started using their artillery. Their artillery is positioned somewhere over there. And they're already attacking us. Now, we're going to bring more airplanes here. I think these ones here have bombs. So we're going to start attacking these guys. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to take out their anti-air using my airplanes, so that we can start using more airstrikes. Here comes their Mistral. They actually had these on the island. These were the French anti-air. Oh, wait a second. They might actually get destroyed by... or not. I was going to say they might get destroyed by my well-positioned paratroopers. We'll see how it goes. It didn't go well. I think it's still there. But the paratroopers should be able to take care of those incoming infantry units. And let's take a look at our Scorpions. So these Scorpion tanks are, not only are they really fast, but they're also they're really effective at essentially repositioning, detecting enemy units, and also basically destroying them. They're really good all-in-one tanks. And here, this is exactly what they're doing. They're going to be trying to position themselves just behind the enemy so that they can actually... we're going to position them right here, actually. So they can actually try to destroy as many of them as they can. I have a few of them. We don't have... I actually have a few more. I think there's like at least 8 of each. And they'll be able to engage enemy even if we lose these guys. Now we have a few hidden units here, but the enemy commando marines are actually incoming, so we have to be a little bit careful. And these guys, look at that, paratroopers did actually really well. They managed to defeat quite a lot of enemies. Let's send a few more airplanes. We're going to start using airstrikes a little bit more because Great Britain actually launched a lot of airstrikes against the Argentinian positions. And they had a much smaller force invading, but they did manage to actually defeat quite a lot of Argentinian forces using the combined force tactics. At some point, they actually only had about 500 commandos attacking the position that had over 1,000 Argentinian soldiers, and they managed to win and take a lot of prisoners of war. And we have some battles going on here. This is infantry units that were basically hidden inside these houses, and they actually managed to destroy the commando marines. Well done. And ironically, that area that had 1,000 soldiers actually only has about 40 people living there. It's such a small little town that you wouldn't even call it a town. There's almost no one living there. It's a very tiny area. Alright, so let's use our Scorpion tanks. We're gonna position ourselves right here and try to defeat the enemy. And use our airstrikes. Here comes the Mirages, actually. Let's see if we can intercept. No, I can't. I missed them. We could have intercepted them, actually. Whoa, that was a huge strike. Okay, we're in trouble now. There's going to be everything on fire. We need to retreat right here, because this will actually destroy our paratroopers otherwise. But our tanks are doing great here. They're positioned right behind the enemy. As the enemy tries to come in here, our Scimitar and Scorpion tanks are basically taking care of them. Just dispatching everyone. So my Scorpions are doing really well here, trying to destroy the anti-air units that the enemy had, and they actually are really effective at basically killing everything, but they were just detected, so the enemy is trying to bombard them with artillery. I don't know if they're hitting the right spot though, because I'm actually moving my units, and this is why Scorpions are great, because they're so mobile. They can reposition themselves really quickly. Now, during one of the missions, the landing craft was actually struck by the anti-ship missile, and so a lot of these soldiers were actually lost. Unfortunately lost during one of the invasions. And I don't know if I can recreate this, but I guess we can basically, since we lost a lot of units here, we can kind of pretend that this is exactly what happened. They were lost during that operation. Alright, so we're gonna send, we only have 2 paratroopers, but we only have 2 SAS troops, but we have a lot of paratroopers, so we're gonna send 2 more and land them right here behind the enemy lines. And we're also going to send 1 more ship to support us. Let's send Lafayette. It's a French ship that has a really good artillery gun. And these guys should start attacking... Oh no, they have an anti-air here. That's not good. And they have another anti-air coming from this side. So in this case, we're actually going to send more... Let's send more Scorpion tanks. And one of the British destroyers was actually sunk while I was trying to support the troops. What the Argentinian troops did was they actually managed to dismantle one of their old ships. And as the British ship was supporting basically the land attack, they brought a missile and launched it from land, and it struck the British destroyer and actually sunk it. And that was actually a pretty brilliant maneuver from the Argentinian part. But here, I'm not sure if I'll lose any of the ships, but I may as well, because they do have airplanes that are capable of destroying my ships. And they also have quite a lot of firepower and artillery that they can actually just sink these ships quite easily. Alright, so we have our new Scorpions that are going to be positioned right here. And these Scorpions here are going to get reinforced. These paratroopers need a bit of reinforcement as well, actually. And we're going to start sending more airstrikes. We're actually going to bring in more airplanes. I want more of these and more of these. And it's time for us to start using airplanes. Where is this coming from? Can we actually pinpoint it? Here, right here. Let's send all of our airplanes fire at this position right here. And let's see how it goes. We're gonna see if we can destroy some of their artillery. This actual attack and this actual takeover only took about a month. So within a month time, the British forces were actually able to essentially take over the entire island, and total casualties were only about 907 people. 650 of these were from Argentina, and about 250 were from Great Britain. And let's see if this does anything to us, to them. Look at that, we actually hit 2 of their artillery units, 3 of their artillery units. Excellent. And we lost none of our planes, even though they had 2 anti-air right there. Okay, no, I spoke too soon. I lost 1 of their airplanes. That's okay though, we have more. And ironically, as a result of this invasion, Margaret Thatcher, who was the prime minister at that time, actually had a lot of support. Her party ended up winning the election a few years after that, because this was seen as a kind of a renewal of the British military power. And so this, for Great Britain, this was actually surprisingly a very interesting reinvigorating event that basically ended up giving Britain a lot of confidence. Now, we actually lost a lot of Royal Marines here, so let's send our last SAS here, and we're also going to send our paratroopers. And because of this invasion, the government actually ended up investing a lot of money into this island and improved it quite a lot. So the people that lived here, oh, here we go. Here's the amphibious version of the tanks. Look how beautiful it looks as they cross the river. And so yeah, they actually invested so much money into this island afterwards that a lot of the citizens that stayed here, and there's about 4,000 people living here, they actually they benefited quite a lot after the invasion. And the thing is, it actually benefited Argentina as well, because since they lost this war, they avoided another war with Chile. Right before this conflict, there was actually something called the Beagle conflict, which was the border dispute between Chile and Argentina. And we're about to kill their anti-air. That's perfect. That's exactly what we needed. So now we can start using our airplanes again. And because of this Beagle conflict, which was basically another island conflict between Argentina and Chile, they almost started a war in 1978, and they were actually going to start another war in 1982 or 83. But since they lost the war with England, they lost a lot of confidence in their military dictatorship, and this was actually called junta. This was the military dictatorship that Argentina had for many, many years. And because of this, they essentially did not attack Chile, and as a result of this loss, Argentina even had something called Treaty of Peace and Friendship that was signed in 1984 with Chile. Oh no, I lost all my scimitar tanks. No, it's because of their Commander Marines. They actually had anti-tank weapons. Wow, they killed a lot of they killed 6 of my tanks. That was a lot more than I was hoping to lose. 7 of my tanks. Now this conflict also had a lot of really interesting results, and one of them was that since this was the largest air-naval combat of modern era, It's sort of established that ships are very vulnerable to missiles. They're also vulnerable to submarines, and it essentially reestablished the idea that it's all about aircraft and helicopters and the various missiles that essentially can defeat any kind of ship, any kind of armor, any kind of a vehicle, and can essentially turn the tide of battle. Alright, so my original Scorpions and Scimitars are actually doing much better than my new ones, and I just saw the enemy commander, so I need to try to eliminate it. We're going to position ourselves right here, and then with the remaining 6... Oh no, I was about to say, I was about to use my 6 remaining airplanes, but then there's still have some anti-air Mistral missiles right there. We need to get rid of those first. Wow, this is actually really lucky. Look at that. We actually found our commander. It's literally hidden in this area. That was not very smart. And say goodbye to your commander. Unfortunately, it got caught by my units. Alright, so it's time for us to invade the hotel three-point area right there. We're going to send our ships and position them in this area. We're also going to use one of the helicopters to scout. And so here we're going to have another naval invasion from the other side. Our ships will support us, destroying anything that is in this area. The helicopters will scout for us. And then our forces from here will actually land and try to take over the rest. And we're also going to use our special forces that are going to be brought in by the helicopters, and we'll land them in the forest right here, and they'll try to invade the hotel area. And it's time for these paratroopers to do some work as well. We're going to march them, just like they did in real life, to a completely different town. They're going to do this by foot, without any support from any trucks. And hopefully they'll be still alive by the time they get there. And this is our special forces approaching from this location. The ships are ready to support them. And here comes their... Oh, we found the enemy already. Alright, and we're also being attacked. One of the helicopters was lost. And possibly the second one will be lost as well. Okay, that is horrible. Totally lost both helicopters. Okay, try to destroy this. Try to destroy this. No. No, all of my special forces were lost. That was horrible. But luckily the ships will actually be able to take care of the enemy that they've detected. And using this helicopter, we can actually try to scout the area. So instead, we're going to use these Marines and approach through the forest, through the mountains, and try to invade the city using the Marines instead. And actually, here come their airplanes, and look at how awesome our ships are. They're totally destroying all of their airplanes. All of their air force has been destroyed by our Lafayette class and all of their Hazard Perry class frigates, and we're now basically are free to use our airplanes as we please. And it's time for us to do the final push. We're going to try to cut them off and destroy all of the enemy in this area, specifically their all of their command posts, so that they cannot really send any more reinforcements. We're going to try to surround the rest of the enemy in this location, and hopefully this will cause them to surrender. Alright, so they possibly only have one more commander unit left, which means that once it's defeated, it will be our victory. We're going to send our beautiful Scimitars, Scorpions, and anti-tank Milan vehicles in this location here, so they'll actually have this entire area under observation, and if something appears, they'll be able to destroy it. And we're gonna try to find this last general unit by using our Gazelle, and then possibly just launch the aircraft at it. So this is essentially almost the end of the invasion, and there were some vehicles hidden in this area. And our paratroopers, all of our commandos, all of our special force units did really admirably, really well. We kind of lost a few. We actually lost most of our special force scout units, but we still have a lot of paratroopers. We actually might as well deploy them and send them in this location right now and see what they can find. Now, this was actually much more superior numerical force. They had possibly double the size of our force, but we obviously had ships and a few more aircraft than they did, and we had the Scorpion and Scimitar tanks that they didn't. But however, they did have a lot of anti-air, and they also had some anti-tank weapons as well, which they've kind of used on some of my Scimitar tanks, some of my Scorpions that I've lost. So I'm going to keep them here for now, just so I don't lose them again. And let's see if we can carefully scout this area and just use our aircraft to destroy this enemy. So yeah, like I mentioned before, basically the fact that Argentina lost this conflict meant that they did not have any confidence to have another war afterwards, and this prevented a much bigger conflict from starting. And if it wasn't for this particular small battle, small conflict, and if the United Kingdom didn't win, they would actually most likely invade Chile, and this would possibly cause a very large conflict in South America that would definitely have much larger impact. So this, even though this is war and this is actually you know, human lives that are lost in this battle, this prevented the much bigger conflict later on. And let's see if we hit the enemy. No, we totally didn't. And you know what? We're going to send our beautiful tanks and take care of the business that way. And let's use our scouts and our paratroopers. Put them in the position here just to support. And here comes the last engagement of the Scimitar and Scorpion tanks. We're going to just push our way into India and destroy the rest of the enemy. And there go the Scorpion tanks passing by this helicopter that just landed a few of our units. And there's their general, their captain. We're going to try to take care of this captain, and this will be the end of the mission. And essentially, this was the Falklands War. And there we go, we won. Level up. This was Falklands War in a nutshell. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little video. I did things a little bit different this time, just focusing on Wargame Red Dragon and trying to give you a little bit of detail behind this conflict and how it basically happened and what happened and what it led to in the end. Now this is how this particular tank, the Scorpion tank, influenced the world, and this is what happened in 1982 between England and Argentina. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Game you later, and bye bye.